In every sport, there are certain names that stand out above all else. In basketball, that name is Michael Jordan. In golf, that name is Tiger Woods. And in snowboarding, that name is Shaun White.
Shaun White, he's gone as high as anyone. There's the big twist. Shaun White is just cruising down here. The Olympic gold medalist, Shaun White from the USA. He celebrates.
He did not have to throw that trick. That was one of the most memorable moments in Vancouver.
Gold medalist and Olympic champion representing the United States of America, Shaun White.
Shaun White is by far one of the most decorated snowboarders in history, and is one of the few professional snowboarders who've managed to become a household name. However, while most of the top performers of a sport are celebrated, there are a surprising number of snowboarders who not only dislike Shaun White, but outright hate him. The question is, why would the snowboarding community hate the best snowboarder in the world? What could possibly cause so many people to dislike such a good representative of the sport? And better yet, is any of the hate justified? This is how Shaun White grew to be the most famous snowboarder in the world before eventually becoming the most hated. Despite being a household name, many people don't actually know the full backstory of Shaun White's career, which has a lot to do with the mass amounts of hate surrounding him. From the day he was born, Shaun White was subject to a very different set of circumstances than most normal kids. Tetralogy of Fallot is a somewhat rare congenital heart defect that affects less than 20,000 people per year. Soon after he was born, on September 3rd, 1986, Shaun was diagnosed with it, which would cause him to have multiple heart surgeries before he was even 2 years old. Although he did recover, people in his community often projected limitations onto him because of his condition. This treatment fostered an attitude of wanting to prove himself from a very young age, and that attitude manifested in everything he did. Growing up, Shaun was known to be a fireball of a kid, constantly running around and getting into trouble. When he discovered snowboarding, he finally had an outlet for a lot of this energy. Not only was he naturally gifted at snowboarding, but he started at the perfect time. See, for much of the early years of snowboarding, it was viewed as an outlaw sport that was only for troublemakers and losers.
And they're dangerous because if one of these skateboards or ski boards, whatever they're called, hit a person, they'd break their leg because they're just like a missile. So nobody is allowing them on any of the mountains around.
In the 90s, snowboarding was just starting to become tolerated, so Shaun was able to rise up alongside it. He first started snowboarding at age 5 and was already competing by age 7. Regardless of his young age, it was clear that he had a natural talent, and he quickly found himself winning competitions against riders that were much older than he was. Not only was Shaun White doing some of the hardest tricks in snowboarding in competitions, but he was the one inventing them. These first few years of wins would both put him on the map in snowboarding and build him up a solid fan base, as he was seen as one of the main rising stars in the newly growing sport. Even with his emergence as a strong contender in competitions though, he was still widely considered a favorite, both with fans and with other professional snowboarders. However, as time would go on, Shaun would go from being a solid rider compared to his peers to a dominating force in competitions. And the more that he would win, the more his own community would turn on him. A crucial part of Shaun White's career is his family's background. While many families who take part in snow sports come from wealthy or upper middle class backgrounds, Shaun's family was different. Both of Shaun's parents held down relatively normal jobs and were working class people by pretty much any standard. Although they did make family trips to the mountains, they had to be creative in order to make the trips happen financially. The good news is, you don't have to be creative financially to get good tasting food, which is why this busy fall season, you can count on Factor for fast, tasty meals that fit your lifestyle. And they're also today's video sponsor. Factor meal plans range from 4 to 18 meals per week, and you can add more or reduce the number depending on your specific needs. Plus, you can easily skip a week if you need to. I'm not a great snowboarder at all, but using Factor saves me time and money, making it much easier to spend more time out practicing and less time shopping and cooking. Factor offers keto, calorie smart, chef's choice, and vegan plus veggie options, which include seafood, meat, and plant-based meals that are all completely fresh and never frozen. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code DUSTED50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. Again, that's factor75.com or click the link below and use code DUSTED50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. As a young Shaun began to build a career in snowboarding, the finances of his family were tough. The cost of flying the entire family to competitions and putting everyone up in hotel rooms wasn't cheap. So for Shaun, winning was important, not only for his own personal achievement, but also so he could support the family that was supporting him. Unfortunately, this desire to win didn't mesh well with other riders, and it didn't take long for issues to surface. While at a major contest in Japan, the majority of the competitors showed up slightly hungover and tired from going out partying the night before. Since snowboarding wasn't as competitive back then, they all grouped together and decided they would just split the contest money evenly among all the riders instead of competing for only one person to win. However, unlike most of the riders, Shaun had gone to sleep early so he would be in good condition to ride the next day, and he didn't want to split the money with the other contestants. After doing some quick math, he realized that the amount he would get after splitting the money wasn't even close to the amount he had spent to fly out with his family, so he vetoed their decision. Since all of the riders didn't agree, the contest went on as planned. And in the end, Shaun came in first place, winning $50,000 cash and a car. This sparked a lot of backlash among other pros.
And they just sat there and hazed me, and there was like this board of like all the riders' faces for who was at the competition, and they took turns like drawing dollar signs on my eyes and doing whatnot. And I just remember being like, I'm not gonna succumb to the like peer pressure of this. Like, I came here to compete, I'm feeling great, and I stuck to my, gut feeling there, and I won.
From the other riders' point of view, Shaun was being greedy and over-competitive. But from Shaun's perspective, he was simply trying to help his family and push his own skill level. Motives aside, this event marked a shift in the narrative surrounding Shaun White. Snowboarding was seen as a friendly sport that people did together for fun. Even in competitions, you were mostly competing against your own personal best rather than your fellow riders. When Shaun entered the scene with a more competitive attitude, it wasn't appreciated by the snowboarding community. As a kid, he was cherished as a newly rising star. But once he continuously won contests and gained more fame, a lot of people's feelings changed from admiration to resentment. Regardless if the other pros liked it though, their opinions didn't slow down Shaun at all. Throughout his career, Shaun would go on to win 18 X Games medals, 3 Olympic gold medals, and countless contests in between.
The stewardess had all seen the games, and after that I was getting drinks.
Wait a minute, drinks? You're 19 years old.
Yeah, I'm talking about Mountain Dews, baby. All right.
He was even so good at snowboarding that for several years, he also juggled being a professional skateboarder, becoming the first and only athlete to win medals at both the Summer and Winter X Games. This means that although he was only spending half as much time snowboarding as professional snowboarders and half as much time skateboarding as professional skateboarders, he still managed to excel at both. Simply put, Shaun was unstoppable. Not only was he winning virtually every snowboarding event in the world, but as a result, he was launched into mainstream celebrity status along the way.
Shaun White.
Shaun White. Shaun White.
Legendary Shaun White.
It's snowboarding legend Shaun White.
The unstoppable Shaun White.
The greatest snowboarder of all time, Shaun White.
Hi, Shaun.
Ladies and gentlemen, Shaun White!
TV shows, movies, video games, major brand endorsements, global music tours. Shaun White had grown far past the world of snowboarding and into the world of fame. And if the hardcore snowboarding community didn't like him before, they only hated him even more as his celebrity grew. Shaun's approach to competition already caused significant resentment among fellow snowboarders, and as he quickly gained a long list of corporate sponsors, it only added fuel to the fire. See, what many people on the outside don't realize is that snowboarding has a very specific type of culture. Because of its underground roots, most hardcore snowboarders actually dislike a lot of the pillars of normal mainstream sports. While corporate sponsorships and fierce competitive attitudes are often welcomed in traditional sports, in snowboarding, these things are widely frowned upon. Since Shaun fully embraced these things and was also seen globally as the face of snowboarding, many core snowboarders hated him because of it, since they didn't view him as an accurate representation of their sport. He didn't share the same level of camaraderie as most professional riders, and on top of that, he seemed more focused on winning and getting sponsors than helping out the snowboarding community. One famous example of this was when Shaun had a private halfpipe built on the side of a mountain so he could practice for the Olympics. Unlike most public ramps, this private ramp was perfectly maintained, and it even had a giant foam pit, making it much safer to practice and learn new tricks. The thing is, Shaun wouldn't let anyone else ride it. While he was able to get amazing practice runs in a very controlled environment, other top riders weren't allowed to go there to practice as well. This was a stark contrast to the attitude of many professional riders at the time, who had much more of a rising tide lifts all boats mentality. Soon after, when pro rider Kevin Pierce got the chance to have his own private halfpipe built, he invited all of the other top pros to come practice on it. Instead of keeping it for himself, he viewed it as a way to have everyone in the industry push their skill level in a safe and controlled way. Sure, Kevin still wanted to win contests, but he also wanted others to be able to progress as much as possible. During this time, the general public was completely oblivious to things like this happening, which only frustrated other riders even further. In the public eye, Shaun was regarded as this clean-cut guy who is super friendly and talented. From the view of his peers in snowboarding though, he was seen as a selfish, over-competitive sellout. He wasn't as involved in snowboarding culture or the community. His number one priority was winning contests, and he took a lot of big sponsorships that other snowboarders didn't like. One pro snowboarder summed this viewpoint up perfectly in an interview. The whole snowboarding community doesn't really like Shaun. He's apart from everyone. He's the lone wolf. With another pro saying, "I think Shaun White could have done a lot for snowboarding if he wanted to, or if he had an interest to, but it seems that he doesn't care anything about that really. He's just kind of running his own business." When Shaun was asked about it, he had a slightly different viewpoint. "I didn't really enjoy riding with the other riders because it was like, they're my direct competition. I would ride with certain people, but it just became hard to hang with the guys that you were competing against." These interviews really highlighted how his perspective was closer to that of traditional competitive sports instead of the more friendly vibe of underground sports. In another interview, Shaun elaborated further. "Are you mad at Tiger Woods when he wins? Who is showing up to lose? That is what ticks me off the most about snowboarding. Everybody is bros, but they aren't. That mentality of everybody's homies and we're all just at the contest and it doesn't matter who wins is so fake. You know, the Lakers and Celtics don't get dinner after the game. It just doesn't happen. If someone wins, I'm not going to celebrate with that guy." Shaun simply didn't agree with the opinion of other snowboarders, and he was perfectly okay with that. And then to have them tell me that I wasn't a core or grassroots guy, I was just like, what is going on with this sport? And you wonder why I go do my own thing. I'm not in the clique, and that's fine. It was this weird them against me sort of thing, which I loved. As a competitor, I love it. It's the worst thing they could have done. It just made me so much better of a rider. It became obvious that much of the backlash Shaun was getting was simply coming from a difference in perspective, which poses some good questions. Should competitors be friends with each other? Should snowboarders be obligated to help out the snowboarding community? Should riders take whatever sponsors they can get? The answers to these questions largely vary depending on who you ask. They're very polarizing topics, and snowboarders have argued on both sides for years. The interesting thing about this debate is that as time has passed, a lot of the hate Shaun gets has actually started to subside. He seems to have matured as a person and has started doing more for snowboarding outside of only competing. Also, since he's retired from competition, the fact that he's not winning every single event seems to have helped with the community's opinion of him. After all, most of the reasons people hated him stemmed from his incredible winning streak. Since he was winning, he was getting all of the attention. Since he was getting all of the attention, he was the face of snowboarding. Since he was the face of snowboarding, he was getting mainstream sponsors. Now that he doesn't compete, all of those things have subsided. It's debatable whether or not he even deserved the level of hate he got in the first place. However, what's clear to everyone is that Shaun White has pushed snowboarding to levels that weren't previously thought to be possible. And many would agree that snowboarding is better off because of it.